Hi, Gail.
Hi.
We already had an interview about the theme of elders, and I'm really interesting to interview as a drum maker and a singer. Why you are using this drum and tool, and what effects will it have in your teaching on the people and on quantum physics? Do you want to introduce yourself again,
Sure.
you listener?
My name is Gayle Grosmaz. I live in the edge of the wilderness here in Canada, Ontario, Canada, and I live with my family. So there's three generations under one roof, and we're returning to the old ways of living together, supporting each other, and protecting each other, and growing together, and we've been planning this for many years, so it's a good way. It is a really good way, um, and we need to go back to that. I became a drum maker about 15 years ago. Before that, I wanted to become a drum maker before that, but Spirit guided me to buy my first drum, and uh, and then led me to a Celtic drum because part of my ancestry, even though I have Mongolian, Siberian, and Ukrainian on the Eastern Europe, in Western Europe I'm Irish and Scottish, and then in Canada I'm part of Ojibwe. So I have all these different bloodlines running through my system, and each of them drum in a different way, and each of them awaken within me to drum in a different way. So my first awakening was my Celtic ancestors needing for me to heal the cellular memory back through time and space of my Celtic family, and that was my first mission. And then I went on to my Siberian drum. My first Siberian drum, actually, I have it right here. I'll get it. My first Siberian drum is made from a tree stump, so it's hand carved out of a slice of a log, and then and the importance of this particular tree stump is that of my Ojibwe family, there was an ice storm here in Canada that broke a lot of trees on the First Nations Reserve, and we were invited to come and help clean up and bring the logs home, and we could use them for our firewood. And when I seen this, the logs laying in our yard, I thought that looks like a drum. So my husband sliced off pieces so that I could hollow it out and make a drum out of it. So this was the first drum that I made for myself. And the symbolism on this is water, because I'm a water carrier. I carry sacred water from 36 different locations around the world, and I share them wherever I go, with in my seminars and my lectures. What I discovered, as I've started to remember my Mongolian ancestors and my Siberian ancestors and my Celtic ancestors, and researching the migration paths of my ancestors, and that my Celtic ancestors came from Eastern Europe many thousands of years ago and migrated to the West. And with them, they brought the Mongolian tradition of playing with the tipper.
Mm.
And I discovered that It was an article from a museum showing ancient Mongolian drums and how they were played. And there was a tipper, and it's called a tipper in the Irish Celtic tradition. But the one I saw that was made in Mongolia was in the shape of a horse. So the middle part here, where you hang on to, was the saddle of the horse, and this one end was the head of the horse with its feet pointing forwards, or legs, and then the back of the horse with the back legs and the tail pointing backwards. And I recognized it right away for what it was, and that it was an ancient Mongolian tipper. And I'm going, well, that's why I was taught or led to learn and teach the Celtic style, because it was a progression of my Mongolian ancestors who had brought the tipper to Ireland and Scotland, which gives it the sound of galloping horses. And the purpose of the galloping horse beat is to raise, it raises your vibration up and helps lift your emotional body up out of your physical body so that you can fly, so that you can experience other realms and other dimensions and connect with spirit guides and ancestors to get messages, to get enlightenment, just to feel relaxed. And we noticed that when we did this on Saturday, the feeling of relaxation, because raising the vibration brings us into alignment, and it just sort of releases all the tension and all of the negative energies and vibrations that's in our body, and just helps us relax. So the galloping horses sounds a lot like this. So when I lead a galloping meditation, I get people to close their eyes and feet firmly on the floor and take a few breaths and totally relax their body, and then just allow the sound of the galloping horses penetrate your body, the vibration, the frequency. And then I say, allow to either feel yourself riding the horse or shape-shifting into the horse, and then sometimes that horse will grow wings and become Pegasus, or will shape-shift into an eagle, and then you can see life from the higher perspective instead of here close to the ground where we really can't see what's going on around us and why. But when we can rise ourselves to a higher perspective, then we can see the whole picture, how things are interacting with each other and where we are within those interactions and what our next step needs to be, or just allow the next step to fall into place on its own, which I'm finding is much more productive than trying to force it, just allowing it to unfold. So that's my first Siberian drum, and I paint them with symbolism. And inside this one is whoops, let me see. Can we see there? Machu Picchu in the south. I trained with a Quechua shaman from Cusco, and then in and in the west, can't see. We have a little bit, it's in the way. In the west, I have a painting of the volcanoes of Hawaii, and I trained with a Hawaiian shaman. And then I also, in the east, I painted the Green Man, which interacts with my my Celtic ancestors. And in the north, I painted the North Star. Now, I hadn't met my Arctic mentor yet. It was 5 years later that I finally met him, but Spirit guided me to put the North Star on there because it was coming. And you never know what's coming until it shows up. But sometimes you get messages ahead of time and say, okay, I'm ready whenever you are. So that was my first Siberian drum. And my second Siberian drum was made. I steamed the wood myself to bend it in layers of veneer, and then the back is quite intricate as well. Not quite as intricate as the first one. I perfected my techniques after a while. It took a while. And this one represents in the bottom here, on the roots of the tree, represents Hawaii, Lemuria. I spent a couple of weeks there last winter in Hawaii, connecting with the Lemurian energy, and I also connect with the energy of the pyramids in the valley of the pyramids of Bosnia, and I was given a crystal from Bosnia to take to Hawaii and do a ceremony to plant and reconnect the energies of those two lost civilizations. And the person who did this, the center, represents the Mongolian craters, which they believe goes to the center of the earth and is a portal. So each one is a portal. Lemuria is a portal underwater, and Bosnia is so below, and Bosnia is a portal to above, and the portal in the middle connects the two. So both drums I use for crossing over lost souls. I'm often, when I'm overseas especially, and I'm introduced to an area that has mass deaths, either from war or the Black Plague, or natural disasters like floods and hurricanes and earthquakes. And the sorrow and the trauma is embedded in the earth. The blood of those lost people who didn't make it to the other side because their life was taken from them before they had a chance to acknowledge their deaths and cross over. So when I go to an area and I'm invited to come and do a ceremony to help these lost souls, and my Siberian part of my ancestors, their methods of helping lost souls cross over from the fourth dimension up to the fifth dimension and beyond, is I call them to me with my voice and my light. By existing, they can see my light. And the souls come through my back and then out through my heart into the light. And when I was in Munich and I was doing a solstice ceremony in a Lakota teepee in downtown Munich, and it turned out the teepee was erected next to a graveyard where 10,000 souls were in a mass grave who died of the Black Plague. And when I started my ceremony, and I had only started doing a ceremony for a summer solstice, I had no intention of doing a crossing over ceremony, but when they show up, you got to do it. So they showed up in the teepee, and the whole floor of the teepee seemed under my feet felt like a black hole, and I could see the spirits coming up through the fire in the teepee, and until they were all gone. And everybody in the teepee, there was about 25 people there that night, and they could all feel the intensity of the ceremony. And even though they didn't know what was going on, they could feel the energy. And I have been told previous to the ceremony that often spirits will show up when there's someone there doing a ceremony, but this time they decided they wanted the path home. So I help people with my drum and my voice to go home. Mm-hmm. To release their loop, because I find that and I did this in Belgium and Flanders Field at the Canadian trenches, and what they're caught in that loop of death, that moment of death, that trauma of death. They're reliving it over and over and over, and so I help release them from that loop so that they can go on to their next dimension, their next life, whatever they need to do. So that is a big part of what I do with the drum and my voice.
So you're doing drums for other people. So you're getting a vision what to paint on. And
Yes.
then when this person is playing the drum, the painting helps them to get to their heart task, giving
Yes.
from spirit for this world. So
Yeah.
the painting says what the drum is doing.
Yeah. Yes.
Ah, okay.
And the paintings, like I tell people, don't tell me anything about yourself. Let your ancestors tell me what needs to be on the drum. And I tell people that you're not allowed to pick what goes on the drum. If you have a suggestion, I'll ask your ancestors, is this appropriate for them? Is this what they need, or is this what they want? So what they want is ego talking, but what they need is what the ancestors know they need. And because
Ah,
the ancestors will show me things from their childhood, from their trauma, from their past ancestors, what needs to come to the surface and be looked at and healed. So the symbolism connects the energy to the teaching that is going to help them through their process of their inner work. Because so many of us, I mean, we're out there helping other people, and we're out there meeting people that are like-minded, and running around the world. And my daughter was concerned because, someone recently here locally, like myself, does this kind of work. And then she took her own life, and she said, I don't understand. And I said, I see this, they're out there helping everybody else pass through their traumas, but they're not going inside and fixing their own traumas and their own ancestors, and that builds up and builds up until it becomes unbearable. And so we really need to do our own work inside. Our life, traumas and challenges in this lifetime, traumas and challenges that our ancestors went through, those that were brave, and those that did wrongs. We need to help them understand and forgive them for their transgressions, and understand that they did what they did from the knowledge that they had at the time.
yeah,
As we all do. We all make mistakes
yeah,
because we're working with the knowledge we have in this moment.
yeah,
And then when we look back on it going, oh, that wasn't a good decision.
yeah.
And so we have to forgive our ancestors for their inappropriate decisions. I'm not going to say bad or wrong, but maybe some of them were inappropriate. Mine is, that was a big deal to heal some of those. And so we have to do that in order for us to raise our vibration and our frequency. And in this, we gain our self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And in self-awareness, once we know and can evaluate the imprinting that we received on conception, we got imprinted by our ancestors. We were born with their memories and their experiences and their knowledge and their beliefs, good or bad. And we're already imprinted before we even come out of our mother's womb. And then after we come out, we're imprinted by our family and our society and our church and our government. And then as we grow, we are imprinted by our mentors and our teachers. So I find it's very important to take what works for you and what feels deep in your heart, and then let go of that. They said, no, I don't think that's good for you to believe. That was your decision, but I think I'm going to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your concern, but I have to be me. That's the self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're self-aware, and then you can make decisions that are good for you, that's self-actualization.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can take opportunities and say, oh, I can actualize this because I know who I am. I know what I believe in, and I believe in this, and this will happen for me because I believe in this. And so this is the drum and chanting is very important. And I'll demonstrate that as well. But it helps, again, relieve the vibration, shifts energy, and opens the heart,
Yeah.
and clears the mind.
For me, this would say that the painting which you're getting for the drum for another person comes from an ancestor, so the person can heal her or himself. The drum frequency or sound is going in the past, heals the ancestors, and I made the experience also that the drum is going in the future and
Hmm.
change for the coming generation also their
Yeah.
future, because it's expanding, the sound is expanding during time and space. There
Yes.
doesn't exist any. So it's a very important healing for oneself, for the family, for the ancestors. And I think that it might be, I'm asking you, if you heal yourself, you can heal others by attracting with the drum voice who made the same experience, I think. Or
Hmm.
is this true?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've helped people heal not through changing their DNA or changing their structure or their cells, but by changing how they see themselves, by changing how they feel about themselves and what is going on around them. That's what heals. I don't heal anybody. You heal yourself, but I help you with the tools in order for you to heal yourself. I help raise your vibration so that you can look at things in a clearer light from that broader eagle perspective, so that you can heal yourself, because we have to do it ourselves.
Mhm. Yeah, that is self-care and self-awareness. So, and I recognized, or when I was in your seminar, the chanting, what you do, takes me also on another level with the drum, in another space of awareness, of connecting, of feeling
Yeah,
my presence in other dimensions.
yeah. And myself, I'm challenged with a lifetime of chronic pain, and so I have to um, manage that without drugs, by chanting. And especially if I'm, in an activity where I have to walk and my legs are starting to give out of me. And on Saturday, when I was doing this demonstration, I was doing the gallop and I wanted to prolong the meditation as long as I could, but I have nerve damage and my hands started to hurt. So I had to chant myself out of my body so that I could keep on drumming. So I'm in my body, but I'm not in my body. I can see out through my eyes, but there's one step out.
Oh, okay. That's great. Thanks that you stepped out and made a very long drumming of the galloping horses. It was
Yeah, yeah.
really good.
So that's myself. Because I'm neurodivergent, which is a combination of autism and obsessive compulsive and all those things. Kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I can't necessarily meditate in a nice quiet space, because my mind is going in 1,000 different directions at once, and it's like impossible. So I have to either chant or chant and drum in order to distract the mind,
Hmm.
so that the emotion can, step away and look at everything from this higher perspective, or one step out of my body, sort of thing. And it works. And I mean, some people can do it through meditation. Some
Yeah.
people can do it through yoga. I couldn't, so I had to find my own way. And then I found that there's a lot of people that connected with my way, and so we went from there.
Hmm. I'm also made the experience when you're drumming and singing, nothing exists beside it. It's just in the moment, really present, and other things can come in my mind because it's not so loud.
Yeah.
This is really great. And do you know what the drumming or the singing makes when you are looking at the quantum physics? Is there that the vibration helps to get in another inner vibration? So it's not only singing, it's special kind of singing, I think.
Yeah. Um, well, okay. Whew. I have developed the ability, and maybe others have as well, whereas looking through the quantum physics point of view, the science of it, is that we are the space between our atoms. And if you can go down to the tiniest space, you can see your atoms like giant balls bouncing off of each other, as you've seen in in diagrams, and I've been there where I could say, wow, I am the space, and that is my atoms, that is my physical body, but I'm not my physical body. I am the space in my physical body. So, and then I have gone out into the universe, into the great expanse, into vortexes and black holes, and so I am the space around my body and outside of my body. So when you get to that point where you recognize yourself as the space, either in your body, around your body, and out in inner space, you realize that you are all part of the quantum physics. You are part of the science of this. And to me, spirituality is science, and science is spirituality, and they're hand in hand. I mean, quantum physics is trying to explain spirituality in their own way, and spirituality trying to explain quantum physics.
I was impressed by a very short sequence somebody was told me, and he was telling when I was driving with my daughter beside me, I just, how you say, tease her a bit in the leg. And she said, "Oh, Dad, what are you doing?" And he said, "Look, your body is like a house, but your soul is in the house and can't be hurt. Your body is reacting and can be hurt, but your
Yeah.
soul is never be hurt, can't be hurt by anyone if you made the wrong decision for your soul."
Yeah.
And this is, I think, another kind of description about quantum physics, or you will say the space. You are
Yeah.
more than your body.
Yeah. And there was this other vision I was given when I was out there in the universe and asking, well, what does this look like? I'm trying to visualize, because that's part of my autism. I need everything to be a picture to really understand it. And so the vision that I was given was like a giant brain, and that we as individuals are just drops of blood flowing through it. And I thought, well, that makes sense in a quantum physics kind of way. But this teaching goes back thousands of years. When I was training with my Quechua Peruvian teacher, and I went to Peru for 3 weeks, and one of the temples that we visited helped me visualize this teaching. And I don't remember the name of the temple because it's Quechua, so I don't remember how to say that. But the temple itself, the teaching went like this: visualize that every culture, every religion, every tradition is written on a page of a book. And everything that's ever been known about that culture, religion, or tradition is written on that page from the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. He said, but you're limited to that page. So when you become the space between the pages, You are connected to the universe, the infinite wisdom. You can read all the pages. You can interact with all the pages because there are limitations on each page. It only goes so far as what man has known on each page. But when you're at the space between the pages, you are connected to everything that ever was and ever will be. And you can read the history of the pages and identify with them and interact with them. But we are the space. And that helps us connect to our inner wisdom and the universal wisdom. And that really helped me visualize what I was feeling. And so that was another teaching that helped me understand the quantum physics of our existence.
It's a really good picture too. I need pictures also, very easy explanation to get it down on a very easy level that not only my spirit understands, but my brain will understand it. My spirit understands it so, but my brain not. So,
well, it's our brain that wants to, our ego, our brain wants enlightenment just as much as our soul and our spirit. But the brain wants to control how it happens and when it happens and how much of it happens or how much doesn't happen. And so it's always want to know all the details and understand every bit and pieces. That's me. I want to know. And it says, no.
Yeah.
Just a surrender. And everything will come along as it's supposed to. And then recognize it when it does. So,
hard task. For a trained brain in our society, it's not so easy.
And that's why the teaching that I shared the other day of the condor and the eagle teaching that is carved into a temple in Mexico, where it talks about the ego is the eagle, which is in the north. And it's looking at everything from the higher perspective. But our brain needs to be empty of expectations and judgments. And the condor represents our heart. So when our brain is empty of expectations and judgments, we can come in alignment with our condor, our heart, and then everything opens up because we are open to receive the love and the abundance that is ours.
Yeah. Oh, great. And it's said that we are now in the age of the condor and the eagle.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I've been invited to talk in Mexico in November, because the theme is the voices of the grandmothers of the Americas, North America, Central America, and South America, and and the talk is about the condor and eagle prophecy. And I said, well, I have something to share.
For sure.
Yeah.
And if you are singing, are these songs, cultural old songs, which you learn from shamans?
That would be the brain.
Or is it like...
That would be the brain.
Okay.
What I do is I step out of my body and I allow, sometimes the spirit will come through and sing. And I remember doing this last year in Hawaii. My Hawaiian teacher, it was at our luau, and he wanted entertainment, so I said, well, I'll do a couple of things, and I get up there and I did 2 or 3 drum things and 2 or 3 chantings, and he said at least 3 different spirits came through. You had 3 different voices. And you can tell if you're listening closely that the voice will change, and that was someone else stepping in. And someone else stepping in. So, and I don't know what they're saying. They're saying it in whatever light language. Some people call it light language. But it's not about the words, because that's the ego trying to figure out, well, what does that mean? And I say, how did it feel? Because that's what it's meant to do, is the frequency of the sound of the voice and supposed words. I don't know they're actually words, or they're just sounds. But because I tried, when I was doing the light language, I was trying to create a little dictionary, like this sound means this and this sound means that, and then it's going, no. Leave that alone. I was me trying to,
Yeah.
brain it, and I said, no, just allow it and ask, how did it feel? Because that's what it's about. It's the feeling and the frequency, and not about understanding the translation.
Yeah.
Because the
And I think
translation is in here.
what I made the experience with we call it original language or light language, it sounds different by each person
Mm-hmm.
because they have another, how is it, connection to spirit, another frequency in there, another history, another teachings, and another gift to
Yeah,
bring to us.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, it would be pretty boring if we are all coming out saying, sounding exactly alike.
yeah, that's right. I never thought this before. Yeah, it would be very boring. And that if you're just listen to your heart, then you're feeling it. We did it once, giving thanks for nature with an overtone
Mm-hmm.
music, singing,
Mm-hmm.
and nearly all people can feel if the person is singing for the sun or for the trees or the water, because I think this is everybody thinks different, but the frequency or the pictures or the motion
Yeah,
when you're listening to the heart will be the same.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a very old, I think, a very old, um, not task, but a gift which a lot of shaman had to get pictures by the patient or by someone with singing in the drum to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've often been asked to come and help those that are dying, and I can't save them from dying, but I can help them accept
Mhm.
and heal what it is they needed to heal before they die. I have an example of a woman who was having, and it was her relationship with her mother that was causing her illness. And she said, well, how can I make her change? I said, you can't. You have to accept your mother the way she is and let that go. Love her as she is, because she is a product of her own upbringing. And she knows not what she's doing. She's not doing it out of malice or, anger or greed or hate. She's just programmed.
Mhm.
So you can't change her unless she wants to. So accept her. And then that way, at least you can go in peace, and you're not carrying over this resentment
Mhm.
into the next life. Because that's something that she needed to heal. And that's something that she obviously had wrote into their contract of them coming together with this animosity and this conflict so that they could heal and forgive, so that they don't have to repeat it in the next life.
Okay. Oh, very interesting what you're telling. And it's good to know if you holding the seminar here in Bavaria and people will come, they know what now when you chant or drumming, what this can, how you say, give over the thinking just to open up and to feel and to heal. And
Yeah.
this, what you just told, gives security or safety that they can open up because the brain knows now
Yeah. Yeah. That
what
you're
is
protected.
going on.
And that's important for me to say, and is that I create a dome of protection over our entire seminar, so that everybody feels safe. And it's been brought to my attention that I felt so safe that I could surrender, that I knew I was okay, that you were taking care of everything. And I watch the room constantly to make sure that everyone's well. And your dog does too. That was so adorable when we have one of our participants who we all came back, but she was still flying somewhere. And her dog, sleeping nearby, got up from his bed, come over and put his paw on her chest, right on her heart, and just held it there for a minute. And we all knew what he was doing. He was saying, it's time to come back now. And
Yeah.
she did. She came back and re-entered her body, and then the dog went back to bed.
That's right. He's really amazing.
Everybody cheered.
He's always with me in the seminars, and he's a really amazing dog and feeling a lot and helping people. That's right.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward when you come. And
yeah.
you will bring a drum with you?
I'm bringing a drum. I haven't decided which one. I'm kind of leaning towards this last one because I can do the horse gallop on it. I can beat it with a beater like a regular drum, but it's also my chanting drum. And this is an Inuit kilod. Now, my relationship with the Inuit is that my ancient ancestors, the Mongolian ancestors, when the Great Migration started, they traveled over the top of the world, and they traveled down through Greenland. And they also are part of my Ojibwe ancestors are also ancient Mongolians. So that's why and I've got the Mongolian blood. B blood type is ancient Mongolian. And so when I wanted to go to Mongolia to help me remember that my ancestors, I met my Inuit teacher, and he said, "I will be your teacher." But I said, "You're not my." He said, "Yes, I am. Our ancestor. We came from the same ancestors, so we have the same ancestral line and the same memories going back thousands and thousands and thousands of years." So he helped me to remember who I was, and singing into the it's called the instrument of the big sky. It's called a kilot, and when they play it, they tap it with a stick and chant. And the other way that we use it is as a sounder to help project the sound and vibrate. And I often will get people to come in and sing with me, and they really find their voice because we shift the energy, we shift the vibration so that they are in that space of outside of their body, like me, and we end up chanting together in unison, and it's quite profound. And the sound, for those who are Christians or churchgoers, it's the same sound that you hear in the cathedrals.
Wow. Uh-huh.
It's the same vibration, and that's why that's so effective, because the cathedrals are built with sacred musical geometry, so that the sound is surround sound, even for talking and for their singing, their choirs, and all of that. So it's the same frequency and the same sound as that you would. And I've done it in a couple of cathedrals in Germany. So that sounds like my kilot.
Wow.
Yeah, I've chanted in St. Hildegard's Abbey.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, it was beautiful. And then she came to me. I went to her abbey, and then I went up to her vineyard, and then I went to the little chapel where she's buried, and I did ceremonies in each place. And while I was sitting in the front row of her little chapel, she came up behind me and put her hand on my shoulder because I was helping her followers cross over into the light. And she came up behind me and put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Thank you." And I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, wow."
Oh,
Thank you.
oh, amazing. Yeah.
And it was during the St. Hildegard Day. A friend of mine, said, "Let's go and visit St. Hildegard because it's St. Hildegard. Everything's closed, so let's go to her abbey and her cathedral and her chapel and celebrate her." And so I got to meet her spirit.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can imagine. She's very, very famous here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she really, yeah, she really connected with me. And yeah, and the confirmation for her to show up and say thank you. I said, "Oh, no, I was just playing."
Super. So,
So this is a chant, and I teach this in my seminars, and I start everybody off slow to keep it easy until they feel more confident, and then we build more momentum until we get the right from the soul chanting. So this is a chant that I use to call in our ancestors, and we'll see who comes and see if anybody comes through. It's always up to them. You know, you can't
sure.
say, "Oh, get here." No, no, if they're not wanting, they won't. So this key lot, I call in my ancestors. I call in your ancestors. Feel them. Feel them touch you. Feel them surround you. Feel their presence. Hey, ah, ho, 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 hey, ah, ho, 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 hey, ah, ho, ho, hey, ah. Hito na he komo da he kono he ana. Hito na he kono ma he na he a. He a he a he a he a he a he a he a. Ho, 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 hey, oh, ho, 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 hane, hona, hey, oh, na, hey, oh, no, ha, hey, ana, hey, na, hey, oh, ne, ha, hey, na, hey, na, hey, oh, blessings.
Wow, thanks. My ancestors were here.
Good.
Yeah, very
That's
nice.
that's where quantum physics comes in because I'm what 3,000 miles away or five
Yeah,
thousand miles away. It's a long. It's like yeah, many time zones,
yeah, that's right.
and they can hear me over there.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Gail, for sharing all your wisdom and sharing about the drum and the singing. And hopefully that a lot of people are showing up in the seminars
Yes,
and
yes,
can heal themselves and the
yeah,
ancestor line and going with new energy and new focus the way for
yeah,
freedom and light and healing.
yeah. We really need to step back into our power because it's the forces are trying to squash us again,
Mhm.
but we need to rise
Yeah,
up.
rise up. And you will coming at the end or mid of May.
Hmm.
First seminar is, I think, in Lengries in Fall,
Yep.
and the second seminar is nearby Munich in Reichling, and then
Hmm.
you're going to Iceland.
Yeah, then I'm going to Iceland for a week, and we're going to tour across Iceland in a caravan. And go to
Whoa!
Iceland's Arctic Circle and do a summer solstice ceremony out on the island, Dempsey Island, at the Arctic Circle of Iceland.
Oh, great. So I wish you a very, very nice day now, and looking forward to meet you.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
So
Cool.
see you soon.
Great.